Hi there, I'm the Reverend Danny Crosby, a Unitarian minister serving congregations in Altrincham and in Urmston, in the northwest of England. And I offer this devotion as a balm for the heart, for the mind, for the spirit, and for the soul. And it's titled, Looking for Love in All the Right Places, Leaving Love Letters Straight from Our Hearts. I was looking for love in all the wrong places, looking for love in too many faces, searching for eyes, looking for traces, what I'm dreaming of. Hoping to find a friend and a lover, a blessed day I discover another heart, looking for love. I'm sure you're probably familiar with this song by Johnny Lee. Maybe one or two of you find yourself singing or was singing it on Valentine's Day. Or maybe you were singing a bit of Roy Orbison. Only the lonely. I'm sure some can identify. Although maybe sometimes we find ourselves looking for love in all the right places. Because the truth is, sometimes you don't need to look very far. For love is all around us. I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my toes. Love is all around me. And so the feeling grows. Oh yeah. Sometimes, we find love in all the right places. Last Monday, we conducted the memorial service of Margaret Williams. Margaret was the organist at Dunham Road, one of the two congregations I served from 1989 until 2024. She served so many years and was quite a woman, quite a character, and wonderful to work with. She guided me so much in my early days. It was a beautiful service celebrating Margaret's life and the love that she shared. Many old friends were at the chapel, and many joined on Zoom who couldn't get there, and many spoke of her and shared this beautiful ritual in the service where many people had a chance to speak of Margaret and the impact she left on their lives, the legacy, really. There was most definitely love found in that day and that place. You didn't need to look for it. Yeah, but we were. And we were looking for love in all the right places. We were indeed. Now, I've conducted quite a few funeral services for members of both of the congregations I served this winter. It's been tough, really. It's been a tough time, all in all. And that said, though, it's been wonderful to share in the love that these people brought into this world and the love experienced by those who loved them and were touched by them. The legacy of love that each one has left behind. Very powerful and moving and just beautiful. But Margaret's service. There were many people that spoke, as I've already said, but one group of people who came forward together, they really stood out. And they were members of a youth theatre group that Margaret had worked with and helped run, really. They were adults now, maybe not much younger than me, I guess, or similar age to me, I think. And they were parents themselves now, and Margaret had worked with their children, the second generation. If she'd have been around a little longer, maybe even a third. And it was so deeply moving to listen to this group of people and to speak of the love that they felt and that they'd shared with Margaret. It was a wonderful, beautiful, heartfelt legacy. Touched me deeply. I was touched by so many things, and if I'm really honest, not that you may have noticed, that people would have noticed on the day, it took a lot out of me personally. The amount of grief in recent weeks has taken its toll, actually. Being around and holding and being with people in their grief. I am only human after all. So after the service, two friends actually contacted me, and they were, and I joined up with them with the dogs, and we shared a couple of beautiful, wonderful, hilarious hours together, just being silly, actually, just being absolutely silly and having a lot of fun, talking utter rubbish. Actually, it was great. And in some ways, such a high form of love is friendship love. The ancient Greeks called it filial love. They had six or more different words for love, unlike we English, who just have love, which means so many different things. I've been enjoying a lot of friendship love again these last few weeks, and it's really sustained me. A form of love I always find in the right places. And to, if I'm really honest, sort of love I've been blessed with all of my life. I am so blessed to have known so many good friends all throughout my life. But back to Margaret's service. As I thinking of the different people that spoke at her memorial, I thought to myself how they sound. Each person that spoke was like a love letter, really. The sweetest of sweet, sweet valentines. They were not romantic letters, of course, but they spoke of a deep love, and a deep love that came in many forms. Margaret had left her own love letters in their lives. They were her legacy, and the words they spoke were love letters shared. Love letters straight from your heart. And I myself have been receiving many love letters this week. Now, before you get excited, they're not of the romantic type, but they are beautiful all the same. Last week I spoke of the snowdrops of hope, and I spoke of it in my service and in the video that I produced last week. I don't know if you saw that one. Well, those that did, and some that came to the services, in response, have been sending me pictures of snowdrops all week long. It's been gorgeous. Just beautiful love letters being dropped in my inbox. Love letters straight from their hearts. Yeah, I've been finding love in all the right places. And those love letters, those pictures of snowdrops, brought to my mind the following piece from Walt Whitman's Song of Myself. Whitman wrote, I hear and behold God in every object, yet understand God not in the least, nor do I understand who there can be more wonderful than myself. Why should I wish to see God better than this day? I see something of God each hour of the 24, and each moment then. In the faces of men and women, I see God, and in my own face in the glass. I find letters from God dropped in the street, and in my own face in the glass. And everyone is signed by God's name. Every letter is signed by God's name. And I leave them where they are, for I know that wheresoever I go, others will punctually come forever and ever. Just want to repeat that ending there, because I cocked it up slightly. I do apologise. I find letters from God dropped in the street, and every one is signed by God's name. And I leave them there where they are, for I know that wheresoever I go, others will punctually come forever and ever. I wonder what love letters we leave for others to pick up. I wonder if we see that same love in the faces of all the people that we meet. Do we see something of God in each and every one of them? Do we? Something to ponder, really. Something to ask myself, and I ask you. Do we see that in those we meet? Love letters straight from our hearts. Can we send them to? Can we post them to the world? I've been thinking about how we see one another. Not so much our loved ones, actually, or our friends, those that are closer. At least not only them, anyway. How do we see one another? Do we always see each other as kin, as formed from the same spirit, made with the same flesh, and having the same kind of beating heart? Of course, we're all unique, but do we see us with the same one humanity, everyone? Do we always show this other form of love, one of the many six? The love expressed at the core of the religious traditions. Do we see this love toward one another? Agape love, selfless love, empathic love, love without prejudice, a love expressed to everyone. Do we always see that? Do we always send that love letter? It's probably the most challenging love of them all, to be honest, especially to those that we might see as different, as not being kin. Human history, religious history, is littered with violence towards those that are seen as somehow different. People have preyed on this suspicion of the other, on the danger of the stranger throughout the ages, and it still goes on. In fact, if I'm honest, I'm hearing its rage and its cry ever more loudly in recent times. Louder than for a long time, I think. These are not love letters, but they're letters of rage. You could say it's hate, not love, being found in the wrong places. And it serves no one. Destroys all in the end. It consumes. Do we see all people as kin? Do we offer kindness to all people without prejudice? Or are we suspicious of those who we consider in some small ways different? Do we dehumanize them? I'm sure we can all think of a time when we've not lived up to that sacred command that we love one another. Everyone falls short at some point. I know I have. I do. So I've been thinking of one of the great parables that Jesus taught. Perhaps the best known, or certainly one of the best known, that of the Good Samaritan, found in the 10th chapter of Luke's Gospel, beginning verse 24, ending on verse 37. And it begins, which a bit that sometimes is not heard when you hear the main part of the reading, the 24th verse. It begins with this: Blessed are the eyes that see what you see. For I tell you that many prophets and kings desired to see what you see, but did not see it, and to hear what you hear, but did not hear it. And then the rest of the story follows. The parable is about paying attention and acting from agape love. For love is an action. It's about what we do and do not do. It is through our loving actions that we create our legacy. These are our love letters that we leave behind, dropped for others to see. In the parable of the Good Samaritan, both a priest and a Levite go by. Neither of them see an injured, half-dead man on the side of the road. They walk on by. They pass by on the other side. And then a Samaritan, who would be the enemy of the traveller from Jerusalem to Jericho, he also sees him. And when he saw him, he is moved by what he sees. And not only does he help him, he takes him to a place of safety, pays for his boardings and his lodgings, does all that he can to take care of the man. He wants no recognition, No thanks for his actions. He is motivated purely by compassion for a fellow human being. This is pure altruism. And some people say there's no such thing. Well, here is the example. This is agape love in action. This is a love letter that we're all supposed to read. The parable is teaching something very simple but vital. Each of us is capable of all the actions that take place in the story. We are all capable of walking on by, and we are all capable of being the Good Samaritan. We can all be good neighbours. I believe that to see the world through the hopefulness of our potential goodness of what we're capable of is what kinship, radical love, accepting all, building that kingdom of love here and now, that's what it's about. This is what we're here to do. It's about seeing the good and becoming the good so that others can see it too. These are the love letters that we leave behind. This is the legacy that is dropped for all to see, just like the Whitman poem. And that's up to us. We decide. But too often we do not see another as kin. We see the other as different, as not part of the one human family. And the religious traditions at their worst have often perpetuated this. But it's not what's at the essence of their teachings, just the way that some have taught and practiced and still do. But yet you go back to the beginning. I speak of the first book of the Bible, Genesis 1, chapter 1, depicts humanity being created in the image of the divine. So if one is to be the follower of the book, then surely every act done by one person to another person is done by and to a person made in that very same image, that there is just one human family that we are all a part of. There are similar suggestions in the Quran, which in the 4th chapter declares, O people, be conscious of your Lord, who created you from a single soul and created from her maids, and from them many men and women scattered far and wide. And suggesting here quite clearly a deep unity within the one human family, and that all people are not only created by God, but are descended from the one single soul. We're all one in the same, formed from the same body, having the same spirit, same heart and soul. Now, Buddhism extends this familiarity beyond merely humanity, but to all sentient beings, seeing all individual beings as being like waves on the ocean. Although each wave has a sense of its own separateness, its own lesser self, its own sense of who it is best understood as part of the ocean, its greater self, the thing that singular thing is a part of the whole. Suggesting that the key is to awaken to the larger truth that not only are we a part of the ocean, but we are actually, in fact, the very essence of it. That everything is part of everything. That there is no separation. What you do to one, you do to all. To paraphrase Jesus, what you do to the least of them, you do to me. So it's more than interconnection. It's deep, deep kinship. That we're all part of the same family of life. Nothing is separate. And yet that's what we do too often. We are all part of the one human family, the family of life. We share a common heritage, but not only that, a common destiny too. We are deeply interconnected, and this is deep kinship. Love of self, love of neighbour, love of God are the foundational stones, actually, of the great religious traditions. The golden rule of compassion is at the core of them all. And the classic example is this wonderful story from the Jewish tradition. story set a similar time to when Jesus walked the earth. This is standing on one foot. I can't do the actions while I do the video, so you'll just have to use your imagination. A man came to talk with Rabbi Shammai, one of the most famous of all the rabbis, almost as famous as Rabbi Hillel himself. Yeah, he said to the man, I would like to convert to Judaism and become a Jew, but I don't have much time. I know I have to learn the entire book you call the Torah, but you must teach it to me while I stand on one foot. The Torah is the most important Jewish book there is, and this crazy man wanted to learn it while standing on one foot. People spent years learning the Torah. It's not something you can learn in 5 minutes, Rabbi Shammai said, as he got angry with the man and pushed the man away with a builder's yardstick. The man hurried away, got nowhere, insulted him really. And he went off to see Rabbi Hillel and said to Hillel, I would like to convert to Judaism and become a Jew, said the man, but I don't have much time. I know I have to learn the entire book you call the Torah, but you must teach it to me while I stand on one foot. Hillel looked at the man and said, certainly, stand on one foot. So the man balanced on one foot. And Hillel said, repeat after me. What is hateful to you, don't do that to someone else. The man repeated, what is hateful to me, I won't do to someone else. That is the whole law, said Hillel. All the rest of the Torah, all the rest of the oral teaching is there to help explain this simple law. Now go and learn it so it is a part of you. So it's that simple, but that ain't easy. Unfortunately, there is a tendency to fear the other, to fear otherness. We do not always see ourselves in the people we meet face to face, especially if we perceive some aspect of their humanity as different. We don't see them as they are. Fear can eat away at the very foundations of our humanity. Fear can block us from the love at the core of our being, the love that is present in life. We can become afraid to risk ourselves in love. We can become afraid of what love can teach us, and we can turn away from life, and turn away from others. But love, you see, is a universal principle. And universalism preaches the gospel of love for all, that there is no partiality in such love. It preaches agape love. It offers an ever-widening, deepening love. It preaches what Russell Miller has titled the larger hope, following on from those snowdrops, of course. It's a love that embraces all life, engages in every aspect of existence. It's a universal love. It holds out its loving arms and says, come as you are, exactly as you are, but always remain open to loving transformation. I am myself by instinct, I think, a universalist, but I'm honest enough to know that I am an imperfect one. As Margaret always reminded me, my very first service I did as a student, was Perfectly Imperfect. That was the title, and she always used to say that to me. So that's a love letter, a legacy that stays with me, and I'm as imperfect now as I was then, perfectly so. Yeah, I am an imperfect universalist, and fear has at times taken over me. Fear of the other, fear of the stranger. I'm as human as everybody else. It's important to recognize this part of our humanity. I have turned away I have rejected the call for love at times because I was afraid of what might come. I have been just like the priest and the Levite in the classic parable of the Good Samaritan. I have walked by on the other side because I was afraid of getting caught up in the suffering of others. It all seemed too much, overwhelming. I have averted my eyes. I have been unable to see what is right in front of me. These are human qualities too. But I attempt each day to begin again in love. I attempt each day to return to love. I find the courage and the strength to do that. But some days, not so much. But we can all begin again in love. Yes, we all know fear at times. We turn away from the suffering present. We may cause some. We all have fear of the unknown, those that we consider different at times. But the truth is, and everybody surely knows this, that we all belong to the one human family. And love calls us to recognize that in each other. And of course, within ourselves, do we recognize the love present there? Always. But we need to, so we can live by the sacred command to love one another. That includes ourselves. In every moment of our lives, we are creating and we are leaving a legacy for those who share this time and those who follow in this beautiful co-creation that is life. We leave love letters everywhere. Each moment we leave behind us letters that those who will follow us can pick up and read and leave for others to follow, to read too. So let's ensure that the letters we leave behind are letters of love and not letters of indifference, are letters of hope and not letters of despair. I was looking for love in all the right places, looking for love in everybody's faces, seeing ourselves in their eyes, looking for traces of the divine. In the letters that I find and the love letters that I leave behind, for others one day to find. Always looking for love, always looking for love, always looking for love. May you find it too. Let's keep looking for love in all the right places. Leave those love letters for others to find. So here's some words of blessing to end with. You know, we need to bless more. And we can all bless. We bless when we give ourselves wholeheartedly to life. So let's return to our lives in peace and in deep love. Let's deeply regard one another. Let's truly listen to what one another has to say. Let's speak what each of us must speak. Let's open our hearts in love. Let's leave a legacy of love. Let's leave those love letters straight from our hearts for others to read. Let's begin as if the kingdom of love had already begun. And may the blessings of God go with us all, and may it do so in all that we feel, in all that we think, in all that we say, in all that we do. Go in love and peace. Amen.